Hi, I'm Steph Rupp. I have captained Wicked Ultimate and Cheshire Ultimate at K-State, and today I'll teach you about hucking. Now that you've learned the fundamentals of a backhand and a flick throw, we're going to use those same grips to throw a huck. I recommend tightening up your grip just slightly so you get the best power behind your throw. Okay, let's start with the backhand huck. So instead of just a simple arm motion for a backhand throw, we are going to add our whole body to the motion. I'll take this step by step, and then at the end we'll put it all together. So the first thing you should do is take a comfortable step out, and the next thing we're going to do is add in our torso. So we'll bring the disc back to our other shoulder, and when we're releasing, we will twist our torso forward. So in this motion, your head might turn down with the disc, but you'll want to keep your head up and your chest forward as much as possible to look at your receiver. So now that we've had the step out and the torso twist, we're going to add in the legs. Along with the torso twist, we're going to pivot our hips. So we're going to take that back leg and the front leg and pivot towards your receiver. Now that we've learned each step, we want to do that in unison. And if that's hard for you, it takes time to learn to connect all of those pieces. Just practice. I'm going to show you that right here. One of the last things I want to mention when throwing a backhand huck is the angle at which you point the disc. So we are going to want to throw it IO, which means the outside point of the disc is facing down, to cut through the air and get the most distance out of your throw. The wind won't push it down as much as the other angles. Next, I want to talk about the flick huck. In my opinion, this is one of the most challenging throws in all of Ultimate. The same as the backhand, we're going to use each of our body parts to add as much power behind the disc as possible. So first, just get in a comfortable position. Next, make sure your grip is pretty tight. And now we're going to add in our torso. You could picture throwing a regular flick, but we want to add in some motion to push it as much as we can. So you might see people have their arm like this, out like this. You know, that's all right. All we want to do is make sure this shoulder comes backwards to give this as much push as we can. The next thing I would say is to step forward. Unless your defender's in the way, get the most distance out of a step forward, the most power. I sometimes like to call it a stomp because I just put a lot of effort into that leg. Yeah. Now that we've talked about each part, we're going to put that together into one motion. Torso, grip, and legs. I think one of the most important things about throwing a flick huck is the angle at which you point the disc. So flicks have a tendency to fly and turn over in the wind. So we want to balance that out by pointing the disc's outside edge to the ground and throw an IO. So I like to just start out with the disc pointing like this and just go ahead and throw. Some people like to have a little bit of a backswing. That's okay too. I do want to say that sometimes you lose a little bit of a power in that backswing. So I like to just leave it flat on a plate and go from there. Now that we've got the basics of hucking, I'm going to talk about hucking in the wind. When you're throwing downwind, the wind is at your back. We want to throw a little bit higher release, and we also want to throw an outside in throw. That looks like this with the outside edge of the disc pointing up. We're throwing like this. This is going to let the disc float up high instead of crashing down to the ground. When throwing upwind, when the wind is coming at your face, we want to get a little bit lower with our throw, and we want to throw it with an IO angle, with the outside of the disc pointing down. This is because the wind will try to pick up the disc, and we want to make sure that it flies slow and smoothly.